Okay, so my guess little review video on the Music2Go marketing simulation by SmartSims. Kind of wrote down a list here of what I thought. Quickly, kind of just go over, what I liked about it, what I didn't like about it. What I did like about it, for me personally, I'm a music guy, and it kind of relating to music, kind of is what was one of the main draws. Unfortunately, it was MP3 players rather than like really being music related. So the hype for me personally was kind of squashed once I realized what it was about. But that doesn't really affect how the simulation works. In terms of it being in terms of the simulation, sorry. You know, um, it's a fun simulation. I would love to see how it works in a multiplayer setting, with the added in sports segment and just having more competitors where it's not like a computer. In terms of, the single player mode, there isn't really much content. You only have like limited options of like your price and your price margin, and then like forecast sales and the advertising and sales promotion, and then like that's pretty much it. It doesn't really go into too much detail. It's kind of more like, yes, we want an advertising plan for TV, and that's it. How much money do you want to put into that? So unfortunately, compared to other simulations, it's kind of lacking in the content department. Um, from what I noticed, this being my third simulation that I've currently used, uh, this one requires a bit more knowledge, I found, with how marketing plans work. So if you're really into marketing and maybe doing it as like a class setting, this could be like a more intermediate advanced simulation to run, but I wouldn't really recommend running this one per se, because like I said, there's not much content. Like you don't really get more of the choices. I find there's other simulations out there that give you the same information and give you the same choices, but then also give you more of those choices. Just so it work. To me, it would work a little bit better to go with the other simulation that does the same plus more than this one. Um, so, like I said, like the single player has no sports segment. I would like to see how that would work with its choices and how it gets implemented, since it's only available in multiplayer. I did not like that you started behind in single player. I get that like in the real world, not everyone's starting on the same playing field, but in the other simulations, everyone starts at like 1 point, and so like in this one, you're here, but your competitor's like up here because they have access to another product right off the bat with their youth one, while you're stuck with just the standard. I would have liked maybe an option to have one or the other. Like you can start a product behind or have it start on a playing field, like maybe like an easy mode or a more intermediate mode where you start behind. Um, I found the marketing research, especially in comparison to other simulations that offer it, is pretty expensive. This one, the cheap ones are 250,000, and they go up to 500,000, as opposed to the other simulation that I was working on where they were a tenth of the price. Where it's like, okay, yeah, I can get this research report, and it only cost me 25 to 50,000. As in this one, you're like, do I really need to spend $500,000 on a report? And then you find out that that report didn't give you any information that you really needed. So I find the marketing research for this simulation kind of needs a rebuff, maybe a drop in price, or maybe include some more relevant information. I found that of the five that are available in this one, three of them don't really come into play until like your last couple years, like years 5 through 8. The first 4 years, they're just overly expensive and don't really help you out. Um, One of them I do recommend buying more frequently than the others. It was I can't remember the exact name of it, but it was one for 250,000 that's available from year one onwards. That one is a really good one, but again, I don't think it's worth $250,000. I think the equivalent to that one in another simulation is worth 25,000. So I find that the marketing research reports are a little expensive and aren't really worth it in this one. And my final con that I kind of wrote down was there's not too many choices. Like the first half of the simulation, you get like your new choices, like what you're able to do, and even they're very limited. And then once you hit year five, it's yeah, just do it, keep doing what you're doing for the last couple of years, and hopefully you'll come out on top. I find that this one was a little lacking. Still quite good. I did enjoy it. Obviously, playing a simulation for class, it's kind of like a video game, and yeah. So like in that sense, it's fun. You know, it's taking a break from like reading a textbook or looking at PowerPoints and like writing like a marketing plan. It's a bit kind of realistic where you're working with the numbers and let's see what happens if I do this. Is what I'm thinking is right. So I do like that, but I think there's better simulations out there, especially for marketing. So I did Music2Go. I've also done AdSims, and I've done Mike's Bikes. Just those are the ones I've touched on, and I think that this is the low. Like this comes third compared to the other ones. I feel that it's a little tougher and doesn't offer as much. So you might as well go with a easier to use simulation that has more to offer. So that's my final says on Music2Go marketing simulation by SmartSims. Uh, yeah, I give it a 6.5, 7 out of 10.